Well, hello there ladies and gents, how the very devil are you? AndyManCam here, and you join me today in a field in East Germany along with my beautiful Honda CB1000R. And in this video I'm going to give you a roundup of a bunch of the luggage options available from SW-Motech to turn your Neo Sport Cafe into a Neo Sport Tourer. The Honda CB1000R Neo Sport Cafe is a simply beautiful machine, but there's nothing to say that you can't turn this fine piece of work into a touring monster with a little bit of help from SW-Motech. So I've come out here to the middle of nowhere in East Germany to show you what I've strapped onto my bike to make it ready to munch up the miles. Now, all of the products in this video were provided free of charge by SW-Motech, so huge thanks to you guys for continuing to support the channel. But as always, all thoughts and opinions are completely my own, and I have not been paid one single penny to tell you these things are good when they're not. Right then, let's get stuck in. Here at the front we've got the Pro Daypack magnetic tank bag. As the name suggests, this is a magnetic tank bag, which means it's being held onto the tank by magnets. It's not actually using SW-Motech's new Pro magnetic tank ring system because unfortunately there isn't actually a ring made for this bike. And the reason for that is because the filler cap of this bike is actually too far forwards, and if the tank bag was mounted onto the ring system it would in fact be hanging over the ignition key and we wouldn't be able to get to the key to turn the bike on and off without removing the bag every time. So with that out of the way, onto the bag. The Pro Daypack magnetic tank bag. This is a 6-litre tank bag, expandable to 9 litres, uses magnets on the bottom to stick itself onto the petrol tank of the bike. And I can tell you from experience it's a very solid fix. I've had no close moments of this bag wanting to shift. It's pretty stuck on there and I'm confident that it's not going anywhere. This tank bag has the same style and design which is echoing across the range of SW-Motech Pro tank bags now, with this semi-rigid lid and the new Moller, not sure, but the accessory mounting system which is on the top, which allows you to mount a tablet holder or a phone holder. The way these accessories work is that one end hooks into these little slots on the top and then the other end hooks into this little catch at the back. And then you've got your phone or tablet or map or whatever you want to stuff in there on top of your tank bag. Double zip holding this semi-rigid sort of vinyl finish top down. No, it's not completely rigid, it is a bit floppy, but it's rigid enough to hold its shape even when the bag is empty. In the lid is this handy little mesh zip-up compartment, perfect for keeping your wallet, passport, paperwork, small flat stuff in there. Then in the main compartment there's just the one big storage area with these little elastic straps on the sides, which I've been finding really useful for keeping my cables and things tidy with all of my various camera nonsense and charging paraphernalia. Then here at the front there's a nice little pass-through slot that you can poke cables or a finger if you're that way inclined. I've been using this to keep a camera on the handlebars charged from a battery pack inside the bag because I haven't got a USB socket on this bike yet, and there's another one of those at the back of the bag too. Now in standard fettle this bag has a capacity of 6 litres, but using this all the way around zip it can be extended to 9 litres, so that's a 50% increase in its stowage capacity, which I've found pretty handy a couple of times when suddenly the sun's come out unexpectedly and I've needed somewhere to put my waterproof jacket. And in typical SW-Motech fashion, there's a little elastic tab to put the zip toggle underneath there so it doesn't flap around and either damage your paintwork or just get on your tits. The Daypack has a single carrying handle and no shoulder strap options, although these little red stripes at the front are actually loops, so you could use them to tuck things into, tie things around, or hang things off of, whatever you're into. And then finally the Daypack comes with an external rain cover, so this means this is a cover which goes over the top of the bag and not an internal bag that goes inside of it. So as you can see, this just flops over the top. You can see through the top in case you would happen to have a phone holder or a tablet or a map case. So yeah, should the heavens open, all of your stuff is protected from the elements. Now if you're someone like me who takes far too much gear on tour than they really ought to, then it's quite possible that this little 6/9 litre tank bag isn't going to do it for you. It's just going to be too small. And if that's the case, SW-Motech's got you covered with the Pro Enduro strap tank bag. No, this is not a magnetic tank bag. Once again, as the name suggests, it uses straps. The strap at the front is already installed here on the bike and it actually goes all the way down round the headstock of the bike obviously avoiding all of the cables and chafe points where possible, and then back up to the top where both ends of the strap are connected to the corners of the tank bag to hold the front steady, which you can then tighten down to your taste and tuck the strap away. And then at the rear end, there's a strap for each corner. The strap has a loop on the end so that you can use any part of the frame of the bike, or as I'm going to use here, the actual SW-Motech engine crash bar. Loop the strap through itself, clip the buckle end onto the tank bag, pull it tight, and then the bag is fixed. And of course, obviously the same on the other side. One thing I have found is that if you've got the SW-Motech engine bars, you've got the perfect mounting position here, but if you haven't, there's not a great deal of options here on this bike because the subframe is quite closed off, it's difficult to get through. But at a push, you can use this section here, wrap the strap round, loop it through itself, and then clip it onto the bag. You've just got a little bit more of a diagonal from the strap connecting up to the frame. And obviously in the kit is also a couple of sheets of paint protection film which you can use to wrap around the frame pieces that the strap is rubbing against to make sure that they're not going to damage your paint or your anodization or whatever kind of finish is on there. And there you go, the bag is fixed. And just in case it's not obvious, this is actually a universal bag, which isn't brand specific, so this bag is designed to be used, obviously as the name suggests, on large trailees, enduro bikes, adventure bikes, so the straps are all massively long to take care of dealing with the distances between whatever subframe parts you might use and the immensely tall tanks that those kind of bikes will have. I mean, for all of them, as you can see here, I've used about half the length of this strap mounting this bag onto my ordinary sized bike. And here in the corners I've actually used a bit of the paint protection film as well, just to make sure that this bag doesn't rub on my beautiful paintwork of my lovely new tank. One thing that I have found a bit strange is that other products I've had from SW-Motech in the past have always had a little elastic retainer on the straps to hold the rest of the strap in when you've actually tied everything down. But on this one, there is no elastic loop, so the strap is actually free to flap around. I'm not sure if that perhaps is the thinking behind these little red loops on the corners, that you can use them to poke your loose straps into, but obviously that becomes a little bit annoying when every time you unclip the bag to take it in somewhere, you have to then pull all of your strap out of your red looping. But that is a very small niggle, has to be said. So onto the bag itself. It's a bit of a monster compared to the Daypack with these two large pockets on the sides. And as far as I know, those side pockets are actually extra to the 12-litre capacity of the bag itself. The Enduro has, of course, this same semi-rigid lid with this mole accessory mounting system as the Daypack. Onto the side pockets themselves, loads of space in there, and as always, the little elastic tab to stick the zip toggle in to stop them flapping around and getting on your nerves. It seems to me, compared to the older generations, the side pockets, they're a lot deeper and a lot wider, so the space inside them, I don't know, seems somehow more usable. It feels like I can fit a lot more stuff in there than I used to be able to fit in my older tank bag. Now if we open the bag up, you can see that inside is the waterproof inner bag. So this bag has no external waterproof cover. Everything needs to go inside of this waterproof bag in order to be protected from the elements. And then we close this by doing up the Velcro tabs at the top, rolling it down, squeeze out the air, and then clip the two tabs together, and we're waterproof. Now this does obviously mean that anything you put in the side pockets of this tank bag won't be protected from the rain, because obviously they're not inside the waterproof bag. But you can just use these pockets either to put the stuff in that you don't care about it getting wet, like your tools for example, or make sure you pack things that are in there in their own plastic bags. So now if we take the inner bag out, you can see inside the tank bag on either side there are these little elasticated mesh pocket compartment things, a couple of elasticated straps which I've used to hook wires and battery packs and things in. And then exactly the same as on the Daypack, there's a little slot at the front to pass a wire through. Once again, I've been using this to keep a camera on the handlebars charged with a battery pack inside of the bag, and obviously there is also another one at the back end as well. Once again, SW-Motech seem to have created a tank bag that has the exact same curve at the front as my clear visor, and here the same zip-up mesh compartment as on the Daypack, which actually has all of my important stuff, but in plastic bags, because this top compartment is not protected from the rain by the internal bag. Okay, so just like pretty much all of the tank bags in the SW-Motech ranges, this one also has an all the way around zip, this time at the top of the bag rather than the bottom, and this allows us to expand it from 12 litres up to 15. A vital feature for when you reach your destination with an already full tank bag, but you need somewhere to put your fish and chips and a couple of tinnies to keep you happy for the evening. This tank bag has a single carrying handle as well at the top, and strangely, just like the Daypack, there is no shoulder strap option, although I suppose at a push you could perhaps use this headstock strap as a shoulder strap. But I do miss the shoulder strap, to be honest. But in any case, the carrying strap you do get is a very sturdy construction and more than up to the job of holding this thing when you're going from motorbike to hotel room. Okay, so that's the Pro Enduro strap tank bag. If we move backwards, we get to the most important luggage piece, the panniers. These are the Urban ABS zipped rigid panniers along with the SLC side luggage carrier system. I think these things are brilliant. Gone are the days of the great big square hoops or the massive frameworks. It's a lovely little svelte construction which doesn't affect the look of the bike too much, and once you get to your destination, take your panniers off, you can happily ride around without feeling like you look like you're going to go and deliver scaffolding to a building site. And despite the small size, these things are really solid. I think SW-Motech have done a great job of making a really minimal but strong luggage carrying system here. Okay, so the panniers themselves fit on using these 3 bobbins here. On the pannier are the 3 sockets into which they connect. And all we do is line up those bobbins with the little grooves on the bag, push it down, clicks into place, and then we're locked in. And then we're using this little lever to unlock the bag and lift it off. And that's it. The bag is easily mounted, but obviously in this state, somebody could quite happily come along, press the little lever, and have a way with your bags. But fear not, because we can get around it. So we first crack the code for this combination lock, which incidentally comes in the kit with the panniers and the racks. Unzip the bag, and then thanks to these little straps and webbed areas on the corners here, the bag doesn't actually open all the way, which means all of the stuff or anything that would happen to be loose in there doesn't fall on the floor at the side of the street. And also anything you've got packed in there can be secured with these little elastic seatbelt strappy things, of which there is one on either side of the bag. But of course, if for whatever reason you need to open the bag completely, the webbing areas can be unvelcroed, the clips can be unclipped, and then the bag opens completely 180 degrees. Now my very neatly packed bundle of pants and socks is actually contained in the waterproof inner bag that comes with these panniers, and that bag itself is also shaped exactly like the panniers, so you can actually pack it away from the bike and then smash it into the panniers later. As is pretty common with the waterproof inner bags from SW-Motech, this has a strip of velcro at the top which you put together, you then roll the top down and then clip the 2 ends together to lock the bag and make it waterproof. But if we pull that out of the way, we can get back to the security issue, and inside the case there you can see this little knob here, and if I push that and turn it towards the front of the bike, that now locks the release mechanism and the pannier can no longer be released from the luggage rack. Meaning if we now zip the bag up, put the combination lock through the zips, then the panniers are now securely fixed to the bike. I mean, obviously they're not hard panniers, somebody could potentially still cut the zip or destroy the lock, but it's a deterrent. It's the kind of security that means that you could now go into a shop and buy a bag of crisps and a can of Coke, or go and get yourself a coffee without worrying that somebody's going to be having a way with your gear while you're not looking for 5 minutes. So that's the Urban ABS panniers along with the SLC carrier rack system, and so far I'm really enjoying these panniers. They are easy to use, they're nice and sturdy on the bike, and most importantly of all perhaps, I think they look pretty good and fit the machine really well. It's also quite a narrow package as well. Being just a couple of centimetres wider than the handlebars, I've never had to worry about the width of the machine, and even when fully loaded these things are nice and sturdy on the bike. There's minimal wobbling and shaking from the boxes. And on the subject of loading, these boxes look quite small, but if you bear in mind that these have got a 16.5 litre capacity, but if you remember back to the Blaze panniers that I tested on the FZ1, they actually had a 14 litre capacity when they were compressed, expandable up to 21, but I never actually used them expanded, so I'm finding with these Urban ABS boxes that I've got a lot more space than I really need. Right, so that's all the luggage out of the way. On to the next product that's going to turn a bike into a mile-munching machine, and that's this, the Traveller Rider Cushion. Inside the synthetic leather cover is a rubber inflatable cushion, inflated by the little valve on the corner here. Unscrew that, blow in the hole, do up the valve, and then voila, miles of arse pain free travelling. The whole thing is secured to the bike with these 2 integrated rock straps with these little rubber paint protecting sleeves to stop the straps from doing any damage to your beautiful, beautiful paintwork. This cushion has been a bit of a godsend on several trips where without it I honestly don't think I would have been able to make it, because my arse meat was getting quite thin. I mean, I'm not saying it's the magic bullet. It hasn't meant that I can ride forever without ever stopping, but it has meant that I can go for a good 2 or 3 hours before the pain becomes so unbearable that I just have to stop for the night. So if you're going to be covering some serious motorway or cruising miles, a very handy addition to your kit setup. What I tend to do is to stick the air cushion on when I'm doing the motorway miles at the beginning of the trip, and then once I get to where I'm going, take it off, deflate it, stuff it in a bag out of the way. Okay, then moving down here, I have swapped the stock foot pegs for a set of these EVO Adjustable Foot Pegs, which thanks to their 36 steps of adjustment through this rotating cam mechanism, have given me a little bit more leg room, plus a wider foot peg to rest my foot on, and also this great big rubber pad on the top for vibration damping duties. Moving round to the front on the handlebars, we've got the KOBRA Handguards. These beauties, powered by Barkbusters, are a proper sturdy construction, and in the changeable weather and road conditions of touring, it's going to be a bit of a godsend to be able to keep the wind, the rain, the stones, small flying animals off of your knuckles. Also, I don't have heated grips on this bike because the Honda accessories were far too expensive, so being able to keep the wind off my hands at the very least is a real plus. And for the more extreme tourers out there who need to extend their season a bit longer, there is actually a set of extensions available for these handguards which give you 50% more protection from the wind. And finally, moving around to the very front of the bike, we've got the Aluminium Windscreen, which, to be honest, is not going to do a huge amount in terms of protecting the rider from the wind, although at the very least it has managed to keep the flies off the front of the tank bag there. But most importantly, as well as looking cool, this little screen is keeping stones, bugs, small animals, dirt, anything else that could get thrown up on the road away from the dash, and saving it from getting gummed up with dirt or at the very worst damaged. And to be honest, the thing is such a sturdy construction, I think you could probably deflect a fully grown deer with it. It's proper solid. So there you go, that's my roundup of a selection of the products available from SW-Motech to turn your Honda CB1000R into a touring machine. A huge thanks once again to SW-Motech for providing all of the products seen in this video. I'm so far loving using absolutely every single one of them, and I'm really looking forward to racking up a good few more miles with this new bike and its new setup. Obviously, for most of the products that you've seen in this video, there is of course an individual install video available. Check the links up in the top right to see those, and also be sure to check the roundup video of all of the SW-Motech protection parts on the bike, of which you'll have caught small glimpses throughout the course of this little tour. So all that remains is for me to thank you very much for watching. I hope this video has been interesting to you. If it has, please do give it a thumbs up. If it hasn't, give it a dirty thumbs down. Either way, if you've got something you want to talk about, leave me a comment and I'll do my very best to get back to you. If you're not already, get yourself subscribed to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Ta-ra!